Hello, and welcome to Nothing But Net.
This is the fourth episode.
This is a podcast where internet hoppers hop on and upload their ideas to our minds, and then we disseminate them through the net. And I couldn't say any clearer than that.
You can't ask for better.
It's a bit of an interesting episode this week because what we're doing is something a bit different. And this week it is going to be Geocities exploring that we're doing. We've found an archive, a lengthy archive of Geocities sites from the heyday of web, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, I can start us off straight away.
I'd love to jump in.
With Stanley's salsa page. Which is just top notch. Try using fresh salsa on pasta. Try using fresh salsa on pizza. Try using fresh salsa on your baked potatoes. Stanley's salsa page was, I think, the top Geocities page in its time.
Yeah, certainly within the salsa community.
And I've clicked in. I think the vibe we're going to go for today is just finding links.
Just jump in. I think we're going to do a little bit of exploring later on. We've prepared a few sites that have already caught our eye, but we are going to take a leap, start walking through the Geocity, see what we meet.
And I mean, I can take you through salsas 2 through 10. There's no salsa 1.
Okay.
But
well, maybe that was a decision all the salsa people took so that there wouldn't be any fighting over a top spot.
Yeah, well, I think cantaloupe salsa is salsa number 1.
Okay, well, that's your opinion. I'm sure fresh salsa beg to differ.
Well, if you're making salsa, you will need a big stock pot or Dutch oven.
Okay, that's interesting. That's funny.
That's good.
Yeah.
A nice Dutch oven.
What does the website look like, Adam? It's not the kind of website that we're used to now with flashing widgets and whatnot.
No, there's no links. It's all text,
yeah,
which is good. It's there's hyperlinks, but there's no links.
Yeah.
And I think what really differentiates Geocities from newer websites is it's all hyperlinks.
Okay.
So everything was hyper, and it was much bigger internet back then.
Yeah, it did feel more like the Wild West, much in the same way that, those days you could walk down a road and then you'd meet a cougar, or you'd turn the other way and you could find a pot of gold, and then that was your millionaire.
The wild, wild web, if you will.
That's actually pretty good. And in this episode, I am probably Will Smith, you are, I don't know, Jim West, Desperado, and you are...
Same character.
Yeah. I'm the actor. But we both know what happens in the film.
I'm the character Jim West.
Jim West, Wild West. And then we are walking through the Wild West in what is really almost kind of like a time warp. I was tempted to call this episode a time warp episode, if you know what I mean.
The time web.
There are so many... actually in a very real sense, the internet is time travel.
It's true.
Because when someone writes something on the internet, you don't see it immediately.
No.
It's got upload.
Yeah.
So you're always seeing it from the past. So it's every internet page, in a way, is like a window to the past.
It's true. And I think even if you're writing a web page, as you write it, it leaves your head. So really...
So space and time.
You're time traveling through space as you write a website.
And these are just two of the reasons why we are very interested in the internet and started to do this podcast in a way that other people probably aren't quite picking up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think other people treat the internet like it's just, it's just shopping for my Amazon gift cards or whatever.
People don't get it.
And Geocities is a timely reminder that the internet can be so much. You don't just have to go Facebooking. You can actually start a fan page for the X-Files and really just have it be 3 pretty bad pictures of the principal cast.
Just Mulder, Scully, and their friend.
One of the aliens. Zorb. Probably Zorb.
Zorb the alien.
From the episode Who is Zorb?
That's my favourite episode.
Yeah. There is a conspiracy out there to stop people talking about the existence of aliens, which I believe in, and also the government deep state does actually control a lot of us these days. So
Yeah.
I wonder if that is something to, maybe the internet. That's an interesting. I hate to get political on this thing because this is.
No, it's
I would
fine.
call this a tech podcast, basically.
Well, it is. Yeah, it's life and tech.
Yeah,
But
to get political,
you can't get technical without getting political. I think.
that's an interesting point. I think the internet is narrowing.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to shy us away like sheep into these very tight pens. Google, Facebook, Amazon, and they are terrified of GeoCities because GeoCities is Wild West.
Yeah. Well, that's why they got rid of it.
And
That's
that's
why
what it is.
we're looking now, today, looking at archives of GeoCities because it's just not there anymore. They got rid of it. Much like the Wild West, they blew it up with dynamite.
They paved paradise to build a parking lot.
Yeah.
And that's actually Joni Mitchell, the singer, who sung that first, but I said it best.
That's true. You've said it much better than Joni Mitchell.
Thank you. I think probably the thing about, well, we were very privileged to even be able to see these GeoCity sites because a guy came up to me, obviously we were generating a lot of buzz doing this podcast, up to 2 Facebook likes sometimes.
I literally can't walk down the street without looking at my phone and looking at the page.
Yeah, I mean, it is irresistible.
I've listened to the podcast more times than I think anyone else.
I know of one other person who's listened to it once, and I know you and I have listened to it probably 10 times each.
Yeah.
And that is actually incredible because we're starting to generate buzz.
Yeah.
So when I was walking down the street, this guy's Russian-looking, speaking guy came up to me and he said, "The internet was not always like this, my friend." And then he tapped me on the neck with a floppy disk.
Right on the neck.
Tapped with a floppy disk, an old teraflop. And then he just put that floppy disk in my front jacket pocket over my breast.
Yeah, okay.
And
Just so we have a picture.
I was wearing my Mac, my Rain Mac.
Yeah.
Mac is short for Macintosh. It's a kind of computer, but not in this case. And then that's confusing. Coat. I was wearing a coat.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
He put this floppy disk, and I was like, "What the hell is this?" And my first instinct was to run,
just get out of there.
just
I get it.
avoid. You know, I've seen enough spy novels online to know that something bad's going to happen. But I ran home and I forgot about it, and then a week later I opened up this floppy disk on my
You
desktop.
immediately forgot about it.
I had a lot on,
That's fair.
and then I put the floppy disk in.
Your Mac. I assume you were wearing a shirt underneath.
Let's say coat, and then underneath I've got t-shirt on. It's probably some funny t-shirt that says, I like website. No, Rick and Morty probably. Knowing me,
That's good.
Ridge and Morgy.
Yeah, it's a Rick and Morty Minecraft t-shirt that you're wearing underneath, I think.
Divine.
Oof.
I got it in one of my nerd boxes that I get delivered.
Yeah.
I've actually got a very sweet system where I've almost gamed it in a way so that I have one arrive every day. So I'm subscribed to 30 of these. So on February and January, February, March, April, May, which are the months that have 30 days, I struggle because I get one extra and then it's 2 in a day and it's a bit much.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, people listening might not know this, but you have a unboxing channel. It's called Ross Unboxes his loot crates from the internet, I think.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. It's not on YouTube. It's on Vimeo.
Yeah.
Because I like high quality vids.
Yeah. Well, YouTube, you can't unbox with that kind of compression, I think.
Yeah.
But I mean, we both unbox. We're both this podcast is heavily sponsored, and we get a lot of money from Lootbox,
Nerd Dash,
I think Geek.
Advent calendar for nerds all year round.
If you want to buy a big foam pickaxe from Minecraft, if you want to buy a box and it looks like the TARDIS and you can put all your money in it, then
I got a mug the other
Geek.
day. Got a mug and it was my other mug is a Wookiee.
That's good. My other mug is a Wookiee.
And it's quite funny. And I do use it. But then I'm always getting new stuff, so as a kind of continuous cycle of putting stuff in the bin.
Well, the best thing is you never have to wash any dishes.
Yes, it is good because I'm always getting plates and, calendars and...
Commemorative Doctor Who plates, Spider-Man plates. SpongeBob, Iron Man. SpongeBob and Iron Man plates.
These are two of the main plates I get. They do have a lot of different t-shirts, but the plates are pretty much the same every other week.
Yeah. They really bulk it up with plates.
It's a weird blind spot how much crockery there is and how few characters seem to vary between plates. But anyway, as I was saying, got home, put my floppy disk in, and it was this link to this secret sort of unterweb, which is just...
That's what they call it.
A lot of Germans still use Geocities.
They do.
Very advanced country in a lot of ways, but they actually... Internet's pretty spotty. They don't have a lot of coverage.
Well, they had the Berlin Wall for so long. That really hindered their Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I've heard that. It's an interesting idea.
If you were east of the Berlin Wall, all bad spots.
Mr. Gorbachev, put in a router.
That's exactly what he said.
Richard Nixon famously said that. Anyway, so I got these websites and I sent them to you, and then you were like, what the hell is this? This isn't the internet I'm used to. And you had a panic attack, it seemed. And
I was so angry.
We were lucky to get over that, and now we are in a situation whereby we can actually explore these GeoCities, which are rare old websites.
I mean, have you found anything?
Yeah. So
worthy of note? I mean, I already brought up the salsa page. Stanley's salsa page. I assume the Stanley.
Yeah, so I found a few sites that I thought were a real joy. We talked about this, the way in which the early Wild West days of the internet were a bit scarier, a bit more rambunctious, just like in the real Wild West, where you would not go anywhere without your 6-shooter. In the old days, the internet was actually genuinely threatening. You didn't mess with these people.
You get a virus just looking down the wrong website.
You get virus, you'd get people who would trace your location, web counters so everyone knew where you were. But, a real scary haunted house sort of environment. And I think this page...
Wild web, if you will.
Exactly.
Have I said that already?
No.
No, I don't think so.
No, because I wouldn't have found it as funny as I did if you'd said it already.
Yeah, that's fair.
And for those of you who aren't watching live on webcam, which is an option that we have, only a few people.
It's a very harsh angle, but it's good.
Yeah, but I'm beaming. Ear to ear, my smile. I don't really laugh when I find something funny. I just smile.
No, neither of us really laugh. I mean, I don't particularly smile either.
No, you'd sort of wag your finger when you find something funny.
It's just very aggressively wag my finger when I find something funny.
Yeah, it's good. It's good if, you're in a loud room. You can tell when Adam's amused.
Yeah.
Anyway, so, scary internet, scary GeoCities, and I think this website kind of gets across some of that rawness, some of that kind of unbridled, unpasteurized danger of the early net. And this is indicated actually by the name of the site, which is the Forbidden Pasture. And then immediately, the first thing you're going to see when you look at this website is police tape.
Is it spelled pasture, Pasture?
Yeah.
I assumed it might have been spelled like Louis Pasteur's second name.
The Forbidden Pasture.
Much better. But anyway, go on.
Yeah. So the Forbidden Pasture, and underneath that you're going to see images of two rolls of police tape that says warning. And then underneath that, a kind of angry, badass looking bulldog. So these are images intended to frighten us.
Yeah.
And then the text backs that up. So he writes, cautionary note, please read. My little splotch on the web will not appeal to everyone. It is not intended for everyone. If you are under 18 years of age, you probably shouldn't be here. So please click back button or some other bookmark or hotlist item and do the web a favour. Please just leave.
Please just leave.
I thought it was interesting that you'd be doing the web a favour, but do yourself a favour. Sounds dangerous. If you are offended by the occasional use of raw language and references to blood and guts, please leave now. If you are offended by a bit of bare skin in the most innocently sexploitative manner, please leave now. Innocently
sexploitative is great.
I think if your portmanteau has ploitative in it, it's not going to be that innocent.
If it's a mix of sex and ploitative, then
it's probably pretty seedy. If you become upset by the slightest mention of drugs, go to a Just Say No page and please leave now.
Go to a just say no page.
If you are humour impaired, and he defines that as, that's the most politically correct way of saying you can't take a joke.
This guy is... I mean, I assume this is from, at latest, 2003.
Yeah.
Because that's, as we all know, that's when the great Geocities crash happened. This guy's really speaking like he's tweeting in the 2017s.
If I had to guess this guy's name, it would probably be Butch, or Mac, or maybe like Zane.
Zane, yeah.
Someone who's real sort of...
Mac Zane.
Mac in Zane. He's probably got like a lot of leather jackets that go well beyond the knee.
Yeah.
He's probably smoking a cigarette a day. I mean,
I think at this point he probably vapes. I mean, back then they didn't have vapes, so
yeah, this is pre-vape. You won't see any Geocities about vapes.
That's just unfortunately a blind spot in the Geocities catalogue.
It's a shame because I actually think the cultures of Geocities and vaping
They really
overlap quite.
I mean, this guy.
Yeah, this guy would be a real
really
vaper.
into vaping, and I assume he is if he hasn't.
And if you like
died.
vintage schlock, bad B movies, drugs, trash, wild biker women,
I love trash.
the unintentionally funny and seldom seen movies of the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and maybe 90s.
Maybe.
I don't know. I think this guy's probably going to include The Mask, for example, in there. Because they make less movies like The Mask these days, but they were still making The Mask.
Yeah, I think Damask is unintentionally funny. I don't think they intended for Jim Carrey to tell any jokes.
No, it's kind of an action romp.
Yeah.
A family action romp.
Definitely, and it's...
don't stop me from smoking.
Is it Mariah Carey?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mariah Carey sings the song for The Mask.
Yeah, it's the one where she does like really high notes and really low notes, and she does it with her finger.
She just goes from very high to very low.
And then Cameron Diaz, holy moly.
Is that not a line from The Mask?
Yeah. I wouldn't say it.
Cameron Diaz, holy moly.
Yeah, it was interesting that she played herself in that movie.
It was weird, yeah. I mean, considering it was one of her first roles.
The film's grandpa never took grandma to sea. That's how he summarises all these films. Sorry to interject.
That's fair.
Never was in bold and capitalised.
The film is Grandpa, did you say?
Yeah, the film is Grandpa. Never.
Never took Grandma to see it.
It's a weird sentence. And then he does a little bit of sort of product placement. I imagine in the old days he's probably getting a little bit of a kickback here. He says, you know, if all of these, if you're not, scared of all these cool things, if you're not, a Girl Scout, if you're not, grandma, then you might want to. And then he says, you might want to try digging up your old, and then he has a picture of 3D glasses, sit back, grab a Zima, I don't know.
A Zima?
It's a bit dated. And order a, and then he has a picture of the Pizza Hut logo. So you're probably sitting there in your 3D glasses, drinking a Zima, eating a pizza, and looking at a kind of movie that probably has some serious exploitation, like The Mask.
Yeah. Sitting eating pizza, drinking Zima, and watching The Mask.
It's a kind of paradise, a forbidden paradise, that we can't enjoy these days because you can't get Zima anywhere. No. They don't make movies like Mask anymore.
No. And I don't know if you know this, but they don't make pizza anymore.
Oh. So what have I been eating?
It's just bread. They just stopped making pizza.
Old schlack.
I mean, I wish I could go back in time. And I think if you are listening to this and you really want to take a trip back in the old time machine, you can put on The Mask, mute it, listen to this over it. This podcast, I can 100% guarantee you, will be the exact length of The Mask.
This is great. And actually, as of right now, we're now doing a live commentary of The Mask. So Adam has actually just silently put The Mask on, and we will be referring to the progress of the film The Mask throughout the podcast.
I can't believe he puts on his face, which is, I think that's the real unbelievable part of the movie for me.
Oh, yeah.
Is I would he finds it in a river. I would I've never put an old dirty river mask on my face personally.
Because he's a high shot lawyer, am I not wrong? Who can't lie.
Yeah,
and he's also an animal expert. So why would he be trawling around rivers looking for masks if he's Andy Kaufman?
Yeah, I don't get it.
And he's also on Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee with Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah, doesn't he lose his memory halfway through?
Yes, but it's okay because he is obsessed with the number 23.
That's true.
I find it very peculiar that we're supposed to believe that he's all of these people.
Yeah, I don't
And then he's
really
also the
get it.
comedian Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
So who is he? Canadian actor extraordinaire Jim Carrey, or is he somewhat Stanley Bupkis or whoever he plays in that other movie?
It's Stanley Upkiss.
Upkiss,
That's a good memory.
Thank you. But who is he then?
I think Jim Curry is his character from Dumb and Dumber 2,
No.
I think.
Yeah.
I think that's just him.
Dumb and Dumberer.
Or is it No, sorry, it's Fun with Dick and Jane.
No.
His best movie. That's him. He didn't read a script, he just acted.
If Hollywood expects us to believe that this man is also 3 or 4 other men,
Yeah.
and we're supposed to just eat that
At
up,
least 3 or 4 other men.
why can't you got to find someone else?
Yeah.
I know who he is. He's an actor who used to do comedy.
No, he installs cable.
But that, I can believe when he was young, that was his job, and he changed profession because he always wanted to get into the acting business. He was just doing something to support himself.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't believe that he is then also just another, like a lawyer or something, or he's just a guy who has a mask. And this is actually, now that I think about it, a problem with a lot of these people.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to believe that he shrunk down to a child, or grew up to a man, and then shrunk down to a child, and then continued his acting career?
What is the plot of Pig? He is a child who wishes to be a woman, an adult woman, but then when he becomes an adult woman, he finds that his dreams have come true. He is a successful magazine editor writing for Vogue, and he is about to get married to, a traditionally handsome but ultimately unkind man.
Yeah.
And then actually sees that being an adult is not all it's cracked up to be, and goes back to being a teenage girl.
Yeah, goes back to being 13.
But then his future is changed in that respect, because then when he's a girl, he realizes that he should fall in love with his charming and lovable high school sweetheart, not the sort of successful dick.
Yes. And
13 going on 30.
13 going on big.
That's
I think
it.
is the name of the movie.
And Robert Loggia on the big piano.
Yeah.
Hollywood magic.
I mean, I don't know how they got him to agree to that, but...
Because he normally plays dads.
Yeah, but I mean, going back to I think, the pertinent point of this podcast is, how does Tom Hanks turn into a 13-year-old girl, and then he's acting in the Da Vinci Code the next week?
That is interesting. I mean, so we're supposed to believe that he is also an expert in religious symbology, but he has this power to become little girls.
Yeah.
And he's David Pumpkins on Snell.
Well, if you read the book, The Da Vinci Code...
Didn't.
The character, Dan Brown, does turn into a little girl halfway through the book.
To get into the Vatican.
Yeah.
Because they allow little girls in, because what are they going to do?
Yeah.
They can go down to the
Exactly.
secret, archive. They're not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Although, when he was a little girl, Mozart, the pianist, he actually went into the Vatican and heard a piece of music that wasn't allowed to leave the Vatican. No one was allowed to know it, the transcription, and he just memorized it. And then that was the moment that little baby Mozart became a man.
That little girl became a man.
Yeah. And I like Mozart.
Yeah.
I like Mozart's the best. Mozart. I like Mozart. But Mozart the best.
Yeah.
That's just a joke that I read on one of the websites.
Mozart is the Mozart.
Mozart is rubbish.
He's...
But the magic flute is very good.
It's great. Mozart is terrible.
Mad. Anyway,
Magic Flute's great.
why don't we get back to the web, because we've been doing a lot of this. You know, it is fascinating to talk about philosophy and time travel.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is I think a theme that comes up a lot in Geocities. Is there was a lot of people back then. I feel like nowadays we got our Facebook, we've got Gmail, we've got Yahoo.
Yeah.
Nobody's asking the difficult questions, and I think if you go back to Geocities, that's where the difficult questions really come from.
Yeah, I do think that, you know, there's a genuine loss when you have these individual lunatics making pages dedicated to Claire Danes. That was a genuine odd personality coming across and then being represented in HTML and XML. Whereas now everything's so slick, everything's so corporate.
I can just post about Claire Danes on my Facebook page.
And it's so slick.
I could tweet Claire Danes and say, love you.
And my big question about the development of the internet is it a good thing that people like you have access to Claire Danes? I'd say categorically, no.
No.
It's not safe.
Despite my love of contacting Claire Danes directly over Twitter, I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
I don't think I should have the internet.
I think that's right. I think the internet should be on a case-by-case basis. You should have to apply for it. And it should be harder to get into the internet than it is to get into Harvard University.
Yale
University.
Yeah.
Yale's a better one because Yale also is a university that makes key locks.
It does.
It's hard to get into.
Yeah.
Although hard, you can't spell Harvard without hard.
Harvard.
Hard.
That's a joke I hear a lot on the Harvard forum.
Old Big Red.
Yeah. Old Big Red, which is a name of a chewing gum in America as well.
Oh.
So I got confused. I thought I was going on the Big Red website to comment about my love for the cinnamon chewing gum from the US. Where I was on Harvard's website, and I got signed into a dorm room.
Oh, so you're now attending Harvard University?
Yeah, and I just want some chewing gum, which I think as British people, I don't think we can comment on, but I think that's a huge American issue.
Yeah, I mean, the internet's different in every country, and I'm very comfortable on my .co.uk domains.
Yeah,
I can go into women's clothing shops anywhere around this country, and they have to let me in, and that's a good thing.
yeah, let you in.
But it's got nothing to do with the internet, so I don't want to go into it.
That's
Here,
fair.
I will talk about it with you privately. And that is an issue that is very close to my heart.
I know.
Yeah.
We spoke about it for a solid hour before the podcast.
And I don't mind bending your ear on things that I care about because it is important to share.
That's true.
Do you have any other websites that you've been seeing?
Oh, well, I've been on Geocities. I mean, Stanley's salsa page took up a huge amount of my time. You know, we've got... this person doesn't even have a name. This is following the... it's a tech website, I assume. He's got pictures of computers. He's got zeros and ones all over the place. Hey, what's up? Nothing much here. I'm building this page so that others can know who I am and how I like to do what's going on in my life. Nothing more than pure boredom. I live in a town called Washington, and I work odd jobs here and there to make things work out for me. So this guy...
to make things work out for me.
He really wants to make things work out for me. He's, I love my mom. My dad I could care less about right now because he's treating my mom like crap, and I live in a nice ho-hey. And me and my brothers were born in a town called Perth. To those of you who don't know, it's a nice town. I'm going to move back there someday. So this is a blog. It's an about page. This is a tech blog. And
that comes across.
Yeah, he's, you know, this guy lives in a nice ho-hey. Assumedly, he had a great access. His dial-up was probably the best.
You can tell.
Yeah, I mean... Back in those days, you didn't have a Geocities unless you had good dial-up.
It was pretty much this guy, NASA, the respective governments of the developed world, and some enthusiasts of television. Yeah,
very few.
Yeah.
But I think these days, you know, you're probably listening to this on iTunes, SoundCloud, or, you know, YouTube. But back in the old days, you know, this is an hour. It's a half an hour at this point. You know, this could go on for days. This podcast, and there's no way you'd be able to load it up. So just count your blessings, will you?
I've downloaded this podcast in the olden days. You would have had to have really collected the bandwidth capabilities of an entire nation, focused on it, and then probably it would have been beamed straight to the BBC, and then they would have just sent it out into radio waves. And radio waves are easy to do.
They're much easier than web waves.
Web waves are made up of millions of hecabytes of information, whereas radio waves are at best 12 sats.
What's weird is, as we speak, it's radio waves.
Yeah.
So we're sending radio waves into the microphone that's recording us. But I'll do some web magic and turn it into web waves, which I think it's wild.
There's a duffer inherent in this mic, and that duffer just flips the wave.
Yeah.
And that sort of technology is the kind of thing that Elon Musk have been thinking about all of his life.
Yeah.
Elon Musk be thinking about this so much, just like space travel.
Exactly. He thinks about space travel and he thinks about web waves.
And his ex-wife.
Yeah.
But that's different, and I don't want to get into it.
Again, I don't want to talk about it.
If it's off the web, it's off the charts.
Yeah, that's fair.
Off the charts in the sense, not like great, but off the charts as in we ain't chatting about it today.
No, we never talk about Elon Musk on this podcast.
No, that's a Musk.
Yeah.
And Adam's smiling and I'm smiling at that joke.
And we're both just having a good
time.
Thought about Elon Musk, but we're not going to talk about it.
One of my favourite acronyms is PMW. And it doesn't stand for pneumatic something something. It stands for people make web.
People make web.
Or personalities make web.
And I think that's one thing we haven't talked about massively on this podcast yet. But it really is the people that make the web.
The people's web.
Yeah, it's always been the people's web. People are always making the internet, which I think is something that we really gloss over. And you're going on your Facebooks, your YouTube, your Yahoo accounts. I mean, you don't really think about it, do you?
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the most important thing that's ever happened in humanity.
I think superficially, because so much of the web now is based around facilitating communication between people.
Yeah.
And it's these seamless platforms for being able to actually speak and communicate and interact with individuals and kind of embody your personality online. That's not what I like.
No.
That is so much less human than if everyone has a distinct, poorly made, overly sort of graphicalized website, homepage, blog, where they just pointlessly and invariably, only for a short amount of time, put up information about themselves with some links.
Yeah.
And then that is much more like real life.
It's exactly like real life.
Everyone is a weird little odd thing by itself, and then you can sometimes go and look at someone else, but you can never really be the same as them.
No.
Whereas we're pretending that we can all be the same. Facebook. We're not. We're Geocities.
Yeah.
No man is an island. Every man is a Geocity.
Every man should have his own Geocity.
And that is basically my favourite part of Geocities, just these sort of half-arsed descriptions of people's weird hobbies. What I like.
What I love that we've, as we've been looking at the Geocities website, is so many of them are from 1998, and they say we'll update in 2 months, and there's nothing. And that's great. It's good to see that humanity really hasn't changed since 1998. I mean, I was young then, and now I'm
middle-aged.
Older, middle-aged. I'm 40. And I think it's crazy that the net really hasn't changed at all.
I have a different perspective on this because I'm still 14.
Yeah.
So I never knew it, whereas you would have been in your sort of mid-20s when Geocities was at its peak. So we're very different generations, and that comes across in the way that we talk about things.
Yeah.
Dude. And I think looking at it as a young person now, it's hard to believe what I missed out on because it was great.
Yeah. You missed a lot. Like they say, it was... it's a phrase I love to use, the Wild Wild Web.
I never heard you use that, but it's
No.
interesting to hear it for the first time.
And it's good, you know, that's really what it was back then. It was the Wild Wild Wet.
No. And even just hearing you say that now, it feels fresh.
Yeah.
This is one website that I came across, and it's hard for me to imagine that this person now is probably either dead or living in a retirement home or frozen.
I assume, I'm going to go with Frozen.
Frozen in such a way that she can be revived when medical technology is advanced far enough.
Yeah.
This is Gwen Morse's homepage,
Mm-hmm.
and she leads with some of her hobbies. She likes role-playing. I participate in a variety of role-playing styles and games, including live and tabletop, brackets in the same room as other players. I like online mushing. My favourite games of choice are Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, AD&D, and Vampire the Masquerade, trademark. But she doesn't stop there. She's also an interesting person insofar as she's interested in collectible card games. She's got a small web page for that. Beauty and fashion, and this is an important point. But between playing all these games and collecting all these cards, I try to keep myself fresh and beautiful looking and feeling. I experiment with cosmetics, skincare, and velvety, lacy glam golf fashions. I'm a rabid supporter of body art and body alteration, although I am not augmented, so I can get a nice office job. Beyond beauty and fashion, she also likes ferret fun.
Yeah.
And she details that much of 99, I guess that was the year 1999, I fulfilled an almost lifelong pet ambition and became the human mummy to a domestic ferret.
Became a human mummy.
She never named them. Simulated horse racing. I've been horse crazy since I was a little girl. A horse or pony used to be my Christmas list every year. Now, ever since the first time I read the Black Stallion books, till I grew too tall, I was frantic to be a girl jockey. Now I just settle for the VR racing experience.
VR.
And her husband bought her a biosphere in 1998.
Biosphere.
This is a sealed glass sphere filled with shrimp.
Oh, I'm glad she specifies what a biosphere is.
I didn't know that it was specifically filled with shrimp.
Filled with shrimp.
Filled.
One thing you brought up at the beginning there is mushing.
Yes.
And that's something before the podcast that I came across as well. On a couple websites, I've seen mushing coming up. And I don't know what that is.
Okay. You want to guess?
Yeah, I thought we could take our best guess at what mushing is.
So MUSH seems to be capitalized.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a clue. It could be, I don't know, mass underwater shrimp hoarding.
Which
would seem to
her biosphere.
So
To
that
be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of anything better than mass underwater shrimp hoarding.
Okay. And it's going to need to be on a mass level because, it's not a biosphere unless it is filled.
With shrimp.
With shrimp. Filled.
And she never specifies the size of the biosphere either.
Or the shrimp.
No. They could both be huge. They could both be huge.
There could be one just gigantic biosphere with one enormous shrimp in it. And it would be filled.
I mean, yeah.
But I don't know how big a biosphere is. I've never seen a shrimp that big.
No.
Because even king prawns seem a bit little to me.
Shrimpy, if you will.
Very good. That's probably where that term comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can only hope.
We can only hope.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's mushing.
That's what mushing is.
Yeah, it's mushing.
Huge fan, and everyone in the Geocities, everyone that lived in the Geocities was a huge fan of mass underwater shrimp hoarding.
It's odd that particular hobby / lifestyle has really eroded over the years.
It really has. No one's buying biospheres filled with shrimp anymore. And it's a shame, really, I think.
It's shrimp.
Yeah, it's a real shrimp.
It's a damn shrimp.
It's a damn shrimp that people aren't. It's a damp shrimp.
Yeah.
I think it's the
These days, mushing is a bit of a damp shrimp.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. Because it seems like the essence of the sport, which is glass and shrimp, is still there. Oh, and don't forget water.
Yeah. You can't, because the shrimps would die.
And we've got more water now than we used to have. Because a lot of the ice is becoming water because of gas. gas.
Yeah, and rain as well.
I don't want to get too technical. I don't want to bore people with my science background and my science knowledge. But really, ice is becoming water because of gas. And I'm not going to go any further into it because this is actually PhD level stuff.
Yeah.
I have the privilege, although I don't have that particular designation of PhD, I do know enough about gas to call myself Dr. Ross Foley.
I've seen an inconvenient
Bush.
Yeah, I think that was it, an inconvenient bush.
That's good satire, actually.
Yeah. You're going to write that down?
Yeah, I think I'm going to perform that on stage.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's, speaking of warming, I'm on Just Two Ovens, the website. So this is more than 12 years baking with just two ovens. We're specialised in our very own juicy and delectable pineapple tarts. They've received rave compliments from our customers, and they only use 1, the freshest ingredients, 2, no commercial additives or preservatives, and 3, homemade fresh from the oven.
That's good.
So, I think somewhere that only uses the homemade fresh from the oven is something that's hard to find.
My only quibble, and I don't use that word lightly, but my only quibble would be just.
Harry Potter.
Because to me, the Grinch would be that that's one more oven than I'm used to. So the just is a bit wrong. It's like
ridiculous.
It's like saying I have just 3 nipples.
Yeah, but for a restaurant, or for a calf, just 2 ovens is maybe not enough. It depends.
If you're just making pineapple tarts, though.
Yeah, I feel like 1 oven is sufficient.
Yeah.
So just 2 ovens.
It should be called as many as 2 ovens.
Yeah.
Can you believe we have 2 ovens?
Just 2 ovens sounds like a boast. Like we've made all these pineapple tarts with just 2 ovens. Whereas I'd be like, that's 1 too many.
1 too many, or just the nice amount. That's like I did the Tour de France with just 2 wheels.
Yeah.
That's normal.
Yeah.
You can do it actually on 1.
You can.
The unicycle Tour de France is an event that I aspire to compete in one day.
I hope to establish it one day so you can compete in it.
That would be a nice thing for you to be in. And that would really solidify the friendship that this podcast has allowed us to create. Because up until then, we were really just roommates.
Yeah.
In my mind. It felt like a roommate. We never lived together, but it felt like a sort of roommate relationship.
Yeah,
I would always pick up your socks and going, oh, come on.
I was wondering every time you came around to record. But
well, that's that.
I get it.
Why do they call him Lance Armstrong if he's a cyclist? He should be called Lance Legstrong. Although I guess nowadays Dope Man would be a more appropriate name for him.
Lance Dope Man Legstrong.
Lance, don't speak to my children about using drugs. They cycle clean. Strong.
I think that's his full last name.
Have you ever seen any documentaries about Lance Armstrong's drug addiction?
No.
Well, they're all right.
There's a few of them and they're okay.
I've seen all of them and I can tell you, take your pick, because they're all pretty good.
Because they're all top notch.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of top notch, this is another website that I came across. It's one of the things about Geocities is that you'll often find families, and that's another thing that we've lost since the early 2000s and late 1990s. It's the sense of family.
I think we've just lost families.
I'm not going to say who it is, but there's someone who's recently entered the political fray, who has, to my delight, started to introduce this idea that family should be the centre again. I'm very on board with that. I wasn't able to vote for this person because of where I am.
Yeah.
I won't say where it is, but they did cheers there. But it is someone who I really believe is bringing that back, and hopefully on the internet as well. But in the meantime, this is a nice slice of history, because you can get websites that are just basically recordings of children saying things, that make their parents proud. Like this is Sarah, who at the time was probably 2. She's probably now
at least
202 or something. So
202.
These are words
That's good maths.
Sarah said, although my internet actually seemed. I think I'm getting hacked.
And that's something as well we never really talk about on the podcast, and we do talk about net, and I think we should do. I mean, we're doing a Geocities special today, but I feel like in a month's time it should be a hack special, because you got to be careful.
Okay, I'm
Trojan. You got to be worried about hack attacks.
I'm fiendishly hitting F5, which is the refresh
You
button.
being hacked.
I'm hacked. I'm done.
Well,
I can't share any more websites. I mean, we can talk some more about our feelings about websites.
yeah,
But
they're
I
good.
can't talk about any specific websites because I'm hacked.
I'm not hacked, but my computer's been smashed.
You want to watch out because they are in the vicinity, and when they smell blood, they start circling all the other fish too.
Yeah,
And you could probably hear in the background me hitting that F5 key, and it is sort of like the computer equivalent of doing mouth to mouth.
yeah,
You can almost save someone from a hack if you hit F5 often enough.
it's true.
Yeah, and I'm trying, but there's no life in the old bugger.
Yeah, that's a.
He's dead. Time of death. 2:52.
Can't do the podcast anymore. No laptops.
Maybe we could talk about something else.
We've been deathly hacked. I think
Trojan.
hacked to death.
Not bad.
I think we should just talk about hacking.
Okay, let's just go into a little hackathon.
Yeah, because I said we'd make a special about it. This isn't the Geocities special. You're 46 minutes in. This isn't the Geocities special anymore. It's the hacking special.
Yeah.
You've had 40 minutes of Geocities.
My website's back. And
That's not the hack.
That was 9-year-old Sarah just came up and said, "Hey, Papa." Hey, Papa! And it's what a nice thing for the family to have been able to
Record.
capture that beautiful moment.
And I'm so glad they put it on Geocities.
Hey, Papa!
I'm surprised that was still available to you. I'm
I think
surprised you could still access it.
I think I was able to just slide it in before the hack. So that will be the last thing my computer can ever play. And really, my computer is now just a sort of primitive music box which can play one soundbite that goes, "Hey, Papa!"
It's a little girl from, I assume, America saying, "Hey, Papa."
Better than nothing.
It's true. And I think
don't have anything else that can do that.
that's the real treat of the internet. Is it's better than nothing.
But I don't want to speak about the internet. I want to speak about hacking, and the two
Yeah.
aren't really connected in any way.
No.
So hackers are black hats,
Malware.
and they have Trojans. And
Yeah.
I'm not talking about giant condoms. I'm talking about bad bugs on your net.
Yeah. Giant horses.
Well, anyway, I won't go down that particular rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But you can actually log into websites that tell you how to get out of a hack.
Mm-hmm.
And just to drop back to websites for a minute, and then websites that tell you how to get over a hack.
Yeah.
And these websites include Google and Ask Jeeves.
Yeah. Well, Yahoo Answers, which is something
Yahoo?
we've touched before.
Jeeves.
Yeah.
Yahoo!
Yahoo
Jeeves. Yahoo! I told you. Jeeves. Yahoo! Yahoo's on first. Could be the name of that bit.
Yahoo's on first.
I mean, that's actually, since I closed my laptop, I feel like I am able to make jokes that I could never have dreamt of.
Yeah.
And it's just a reminder that sometimes your brain is actually the real internet.
Yeah, get off the net, you know. The connections in your brain are close enough to an internet connection. They're just the same, which is a little poem by H.R. Spratt. that
Which
I
is
like to-
what you write under.
Yeah.
That's your pseudonym.
Don't tell people that. I want it to seem wise. Like
Human
I write
Resources
poetry.
Sprat.
Yeah. Old Human Resources Spratt.
Yeah. Poems are a great way to sort of come up with passwords.
Yeah.
So my password, I will change it right away, so don't even think about hacking me, is Ozymandias 991.
1991.
And that is just a combination of the year that I was not born and a poem by Percy Bysshe Shelley.
Yeah. Percy Bysshe Shelley.
Yeah. Percy Bysshe Shelley,
I think
Captain.
poetry is a great way not only to reference poetry in your passwords, it's a great way to remember your passwords. Always, I will be home 9942 whoa is a good one.
And that is a little close to the bone because I did share that password with you in confidence, and it is my bank password.
So don't like that can't be changed.
I can't change that, but I need everyone to promise as a contract, if you're going to continue listening to this podcast, which is a public good, don't go on 42911.
Don't hack my bank.
That's my bank. I earned that money by doing sit-ups online for an old German guy who likes to watch.
It's 10 whole pounds.
Yeah.
Well, we make a lot. It's something. It's a bit gauche to talk about, but we make a lot of money from this podcast.
Oh yeah. This is my primary source of income now.
Yeah, I mean it's weekly, so you can imagine if you do something once a week, you're bound to make money off it, which I think is an old adage that stays true to this day.
Yeah, some of these old adages just never go away.
No. And that's another poem.
Another poem by T.H. Spratt, who's the brother of H.R. Spratt, from the past. And they were so old, as all poets are. Some of them are dead.
Yeah.
T.H. Eliot, dead.
He's been dead for years.
It's frustrating to me that T.S. Eliot had never had an opportunity to visit the internet, because there would have been an extra stanza at the end of The Wasteland that would have been web related.
Mm-hmm.
And it could have been the worldwide wasteland, which almost relates to something that you sometimes say that I can't quite remember.
I can't think of it. But the worldwide wasteland, I mean, that's really T.S. Eliot, I think.
I can just think of how the poem would sound. I log on to the internet. There's a bear in my heart. I open up Google. Everything hurts. I download the newest episode of Dr. Foster. Why am I so old? Everyone, please get online. Gerontian, this is it. Goodbye. And that would have been a better ending to the poem.
Yeah. Not the web ends not with a bang, but with a website.
That's funny as well, actually.
Yeah.
This is how the web ends. This is how the web ends.
This is how the web ends.
Bye.
Goodbye. And that's T.S. Eliot's last poem.
Oh.
It's called In a Digital World. So, look it up.
And it's really good. And he probably couldn't have written it without the help of his dear, dear friend, Tim Berners-Lee, inventor of the website.
Yeah. Well, I thought we said on a previous podcast that the internet was made for priests to communicate with one another.
Yeah.
So,
Holy of Holies.
Tim Berners-Lee made it for the priests.
One of the interesting things about poetry in the old days is that much of it was religious, and actually your likes of T.S. Eliot and Roald Dahl would have actually probably read the Bible, memorized some of it, and then tried to write it back down.
Yeah.
And their foggy recollections is where poem comes from.
Yeah.
So every poem is just essentially a poorly remembered biblical exercise, rewriting biblical exercise, sort of like in school. But that is interesting to me.
It really is.
What I mean to say is, long story short, Timothy Short Eliot, probably T.S. Eliot, probably knew loads of priests, and that's how he met Berners-Lee.
And that's how he got turned on to the net.
He was the third person to use the net. There was the Anglican Archdiocese of Ralph, aka Ralph, and there was the Pope, and Tim B. Lee.
You've changed it already. It was T.S. Eliot.
No, Tim Berners-Lee.
Oh,
and then Eliot was number 4. Sorry,
Eliot was 4.
And he probably. It's fun to imagine the conversation that he would have had with his wife.
It's really, really, really fun to imagine the conversation between Timothy S. Eliot and his brother Tim Berners-Lee, and their discussion about checking on the web. You could almost equate it to talking about the net on a podcast, and I feel like this is probably an exact recreation of T.S. Eliot and Tim Berners-Lee talking about the internet in the early 1800s.
It's about time that somebody perfectly recreated that conversation. And it's about time that there was two people as smart as those two again.
Yeah.
And that's really how I see us.
Yeah.
I am so proud of us to have made this podcast.
Me too.
And I think other people sneer and squelch and jealousy. And this is very poetic.
And mush.
They mush.
They mush about.
They're just damp squids. And we are big, beautiful boys.
Big dumb shrimps.
We are some of the biggest shrimps this side of the aquatomite.
You're not going to get a biosphere to hold these shrimps in place, is all. I think.
Beautiful. Poetry.
And it's full circle, much like a biosphere.
Oh. I mean,
full sphere.
It seems as if this is haphazard and slightly on the spot, but we plan these months in advance, and that's how you get the kind of almost poetic kind of symmetry of our conversations in here.
Yeah.
And Adam has a lot of a part to play in that.
I wandered lonely as a cloud. I hope the net is mine to shroud.
If you're telling me that William Wordsworth didn't know that the cloud was going to be a mass storage facility when he wrote Daffodils, you're wrong.
That was a comment on how we're close. Everyone's closer with Facebook. You can see what your friends say. But when you're on the cloud, you're really alone.
In Xanadu did Kubla Khan an internet page decree. And I think that's... they were all in on it.
Yeah.
Romantic poetry, internet, very closely linked.
Yeah, they're one and the same.
For me, probably you could say that Lord Byron was really the first .NET engineer, and of course it was his daughter and Babbage who were responsible for making the world's first computer, which was actually just a knitting needle with a farb attached.
The old farb. I mean, that's part of Scottish history.
Ada
Just something we
Lovelace.
don't talk about that much.
Me and Adam are Scottish. You wouldn't be able to tell because we both have deep regional accents, but the region is the world.
Yeah.
We think in terms of universes.
Well, we both, off the podcast, have very, very strong Scottish accents. But we really tone it down for this podcast because we want this to be universal. We want you to be able to listen to this in Malawi.
There are no countries on the internet. There's no countries. There aren't. It's not a national thing. There's no continents. There's no countries. It's just one big planet.
Yeah.
And if anything, we should be proud of how our internet stacks up against alien internets, which as far as I know don't exist.
Yeah, so we're well in the lead. Thank you, T.S. Eliot and L.R. Bungman.
And thank you to the UN, which should stand for Internet Nation.
Internet Nation.
Internet Nation. And the Ubernet, of course, as well.
Yeah.
Ubernet and Internet. What do you get when you combine them? Internet.
Well, we haven't... I think that's something we should really... Again, it's something we can touch on in future podcasts.
Right.
Because this is really... It's about teaching you about the internet. And it's about to teach you about the internet. And
I like to get into the physics of the thing.
yeah, I think the Ubernet is something we really haven't touched on.
I like to think of it as if the internet is an apple, and you've got a plate above that apple.
Yeah.
Das Ubernet.
That's Ubernet.
And it's a combination of the two. It makes internet.
Yeah.
But they are very different beasts. And an apple is so different to a plate. And if you can't see that, you're not getting into the physics of the thing.
The internet is the 5-inch ruler in between.
Yeah. Two?
The internet is the 5-inch ruler.
Yeah.
Which is, again, another poem by T.R. Eliot.
The 5-inch ruler, and here's a sort of political joke, is what I call Kim Jong-un.
That's good.
Because he is an autocrat of a very diminutive size.
Yeah.
And that's something to make fun of.
That's good.
Let's poke the bear, I always say. And nuke the fucker.
Yeah.
Because we are all one world, but you don't get out of line.
That's true. Nuke him.
Nuke him. Duke. Nuke him.
Duke Nukem.
Yeah.
Another famous poet.
Another famous poet, Duke nuked them.
Yeah.
And he was very blonde for a poet.
way too blonde.
Most poets are brunettes because brunette, I don't know if you know this, but that brown colour is sort of smart smart dye that comes
Yeah.
out of smart heads. And that's why very few smart people are not brunette or grey.
Yeah. I think something we've, again, never really touched on, we'll do another special about this, we'll do 4 specials in a row, is, does Duke Nukem dye his hair? That's a cool question. I'm going to put a game theory about that.
That's very interesting because games do actually nowadays flow into internet, and I don't think we should be scared of talking about things that we know a lot about and care passionately and deeply about.
Yeah.
And they are for us, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I want to talk about video games ever because they don't interest me. I'm not a big fan. I've never played a game.
We're athletes. We're athletic guys. We sort of we met at a fossil league. That's not sports, but archaeology does. You do digging.
Yeah. You've got to be toned to be an archaeologist. Daniel Jackson from Stargate is a great example.
A very good example, and yeah.
I mean, he's the real peak for us athletic archaeologists.
I hate to talk about Friend again, but Ross is kind of a beefcake.
Exactly.
I mean, they get 1 or 2 episodes where he takes his shirt off, where he's getting dyed. The episode where he gets dyed, but he gets dyed too much.
He gets dyed.
That one is just a little idea you get to see of his arms, and he's just a strong guy.
He's a big tough guy, and
I wouldn't fancy Joey's chances against him.
No, and I'm truly glad we got another nice Friends reference in there.
Glad it never came to that. Well, one of the central perks of doing this podcast for me is that I get to spend a lot of time on the internet looking at just sort of, archaeological men and how big their arms are.
Yeah.
And that is the internet that lets you do that.
I think, to be perfectly honest, Daniel Jackson gives Ross a real run for his money.
That's interesting. I think that we could probably talk about this for days.
Yeah.
And record it and then socially sort of coerce our friends into having to listen to it.
Yeah.
And that is what we intend to do. So,
Yeah.
So this podcast is not even halfway through. Get comfortable.
Get ready, because we're going to talk about the pros and cons of Daniel Jackson versus Ross Geller.
Now, what is a Stargate and why should I give a damn?
That's a internet article.
Yeah. Top 10 reasons to give a damn.
I read
about
that
something.
on Forbes.
Yeah. Forbes Business Magazine.
Yeah. What are Stargates and why should we care?
Yeah.
.buzzfeed.com.
Here's a little thing about Forbes. You go on, you get a quote. It'll be Warren Buffett or something. The quote will be, I wake up every morning at 4 and so should you. But I do drink cola. And it's fun when rich people have a little bit of humour.
I love that I can't visit Forbes.com because I don't have cookies turned on. So...
Well, I don't want to get too into the technical stuff because we're going to alienate people, but cookies are basically internet widgets that don't stay with you.
Yeah.
No.
They do stay with you.
They do stay with you. Widgets are cookies that go bye-bye.
Yeah.
And I'd like to get more people saying that.
Which I think is the real takeaway from this podcast. Episode 4, widgets are cookies that go bye-bye.
This is an information podcast. We're here to, have a little fun and
smile.
Talk amongst one another and smile and listen to music, as we always do, but it is mostly information. This isn't entertainment. This isn't light entertainment. This isn't heavy entertainment.
This isn't supposed to be fun.
No, you should be listening to this with an academical mind.
Yeah.
Taking notes.
Because we're telling you about poetry. We're telling you about how the internet was formed by the poets of the bee. And we're telling you how the net came to be, which is another poem by H.R. Sprang.
And next week we're going to talk about porn on the net. Good thing, bad thing, no thing. And next week will be fun.
Yeah. Email us your favorite porno. Email us.
Rollingmyeyes.com.
Yeah. Email us your favorite porno stars. Tell us what you think about porn. What you think about it.
Yeah, good thing, bad thing, no thing. We really want to hear your thoughts. Because this is a call-in show.
Yeah.
We just don't have a phone.
You can call in via the net. So if you want to come on Google Hangouts, you want to come on Skype, you want to, you can WhatsApp me.
That's new.
You can do whatever you want. I'm always eager to talk about porn on the net. I think but really don't, if you have any other questions about the internet, don't call.
And I'm not going to be here for that episode. It's just going to be Adam. It's going to be a solo special.
Videoed.
We're not going to release it. It's very much going to be Adam's own thing.
I'm going to be uploading on Twitch.com. I'm going to be playing Counter-Strike Go.
Yeah. Well,
while I field your questions about porn.
And we're all looking forward to that. That's something that we've really had in the works for a while. I'm sorry that I can't be part of it, but Adam was very specific about that.
Yeah.
It's his thing.
Well, only one man can play Counter-Strike Go. Everybody knows that.
Yeah. And it's sort of the little bits and bytes that I don't understand like that hold me back and very much make me the guest and Adam is the host. But with that, I am willing to leave now. I think it's about time I say goodbye. Adam will probably keep going for about an hour more because he would like to start to get into some of the issues underneath the porn thing.
The porn thing is the next podcast. What I'm going to talk about for the next hour is Daniel Jackson.
Okay. Well, it bothers me that I'm not going to be there to stand up for Ross Geller, but I'm going to have to trust you to be fair and equitable.
That's fair.
Right.
I won't be.
Okay. Well.
It'll be very, very heavily sided to Daniel Jackson.
Yeah.
Who's in Stargate.
Huh. Boy, doesn't have any friends.
Yeah.
So, what was your rating for the internet today before I pop off?
Well, we've done a lot of Geocities. Yeah. I think we've looked at 4 websites total, which is good.
Yeah.
I'm going to give the internet a hard pass this week.
Oh.
You know what? Because I wish it were the past.
Yeah. That is actually really nice and poetic, and I hate to keep bringing it back to poetry, but you cannot talk about the internet without talking about poetry.
That's true.
Well, I'll give it a B.
A B?
Yeah.
To B
is bye.
Oh.